is our second-year players under the most pressure? So for this one, I think, do we have me take this one away first?
Yeah,
I think
you're the first one. So
doing what? One offense and one
yeah,
defense.
we'll go offense and one defense. So
yeah,
okay.
So we'll do one of each. So my offensive second-year player, pretty easy pick for me. And I think somebody else
Gene
might
already
have this
said
too.
Jalen Hurts in the comments.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, exactly. Great minds think alike, Gene. He's definitely the second-year player with the most pressure on him. I mean, he was handed the keys to the Eagles. Their franchise guy is out the door. Wentz doesn't play here anymore. Yeah, we got to keep that W word out of our mouths at this point. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. They haven't specifically named him starter because Sirianni's kind of weird. But the front office's decisions have basically named him starter. They drafted his Alabama teammates in Smith and Landon Dickerson. Hurts has been disrespected and not really given his shot for most of his career, bouncing around in college, with Tua and the whole deal. It's time to see what he can do, with the weapons they put around him. So also, in addition to this kind of on the pressure side, I don't anticipate this being a 500-ish or possibly worse season for the Eagles. I think the NFC least is still going to be not great, and I don't think the Eagles are going to be one of the great. I don't see 10 wins coming out of this team. So I also want to see how he handles that adversity. Being the number one guy, handed the reins to a franchise and not getting immediate success. He's had success the whole time he was in college. And last year he was coming in as a backup. Gene says 6-11. I totally agree.
Yourself, sir.
Yeah, I totally agree. 6-11, 7-10 is probably where they're going to land. If a 500-ish season, 8-9 is stretching it. And I think part of that pressure is to see how he handles that, because he's never really faced adversity like that as the guy. So I want to see how that goes.
Okay.
So for defense, I
pulled this one out. This one.
Yeah. So this is not as much, I guess, pressure. It's another guy that's getting handed a starting job, but he showed that he's got talent last year. And now he's being named the starter because Brian Burns, edge rusher for Carolina, he played 15 games last season, 58 tackles, 9 sacks, 4 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles in those 15 games as a rookie, prior to a shoulder injury and subsequent surgery. But he's fully recovered, has been back in camp, and got named the starting left defensive end, basically. So Carolina lost their 2 starting defensive ends to free agency. Stephen Weatherly went back to Minnesota. He only spent a year in Carolina. And Efe Obada signed with Buffalo to join his old defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, up there. So the kid, he's now a 22-year-old starter, going to go against every team's tackles that have a year's worth of tape on him. Can he produce? And that's just, it's more, I'm kind of excited to see what he does, handed the starting role, given what he's seen. But I wouldn't be surprised, the pressure on him, then everybody going, oh, sophomore slump. Like, can he put up the same kind of numbers? Is he going to have a double-digit sack season for Carolina now that he's going to get starters minutes, instead of a rotation minutes as a rookie? So, that's my guy to look out for there.
Okay. Yeah, that's all of our defensive players are different, right? So I guess I'll go ahead and take the reins next. So Slade said it's his second year. Like second year as like his junior year. This will be his junior year. Whatever. We'll come back to it.
I thought he was a second year guy. He's 22.
Whatever it is. Brian Burns is his choice, okay?
That's my guy, okay? And Efe, by the end of the season, Efe was behind him on the depth chart for sure.
Gotcha.
All right.
So Dante.
Yeah, so with the 31st pick, no, I'm just kidding. Justin Jefferson, to me, is going to have the most pressure on him. Oh, he's a third-year guy now.
See, You caught me. I screwed that up. I literally thought he got drafted last year.
But I think he was injury prone, like his
Did
his
he redshirt his rookie year? Basically, I don't know. I don't think I can look.
We'll look out to Slade for that one. I know he came from Florida State. I haven't really followed his career as closely as possible, but we'll head over to my pick. Justin Jefferson, I think, on the offensive side is going to have the most pressure against him. For the simple fact that if you really look at what Justin Jefferson did last year, and I always look at things like how many times were you targeted versus how many times that you actually caught the ball. And he wasn't the most targeted receiver last year and still put up the numbers that he did as a rookie. Can he carry that momentum over with somebody like Adam Thielen having 13 or 14 touchdowns last year as well? So, that's going to be a two-headed monster, and I'm going to just put it like this. I hope Kellen Mond gets to come in and start and take Kirk Cousins' job.
I was wondering how you're going to get that in there.
Yeah, I just had to throw it in there. But, Kellen Mond is my guy. So, but I think Justin Jefferson will be fine. He showed his talent. I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon. Adam Thielen is as hungry as ever, too, and, he's been a very good teammate for him. As we know, Kyle Rudolph is not with the Vikings anymore, so that might hurt his production just a little bit, not having another threat out there, but it is what it is. I think he's going to have a lot of pressure on him to do as well as he did because and my biggest reason why is because his wide receiving class, boy, oh boy. Jalen Waddle to Jamar Chase to Elijah Moore, my boy Rondell Moore. There's a lot of freaking good receivers.
Don't forget Rashad Bateman.
No, he's going to have 30 catches, Don. 30 catches this season.
I couldn't help it, man.
But I mean, it could happen. I hope the Ravens do change their offensive scheme because it's pretty easy to figure out.
They changed their scheme in a heartbeat if they brought in Julio.
Yeah. So Justin Jefferson's on that side. Now, one guy that I wasn't high on in the draft, I wasn't high on him being in the NFL. I still think that Jeremy Chin should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, based off the fact that he actually scored touchdowns, and Chase Young had teammates that were way better than. Well, all right, just let me get into it, okay? So Chase Young is my defensive guy. Not only is this dude super hyped up, he had an okay season. My boy Don over here was talking about Montez Sweat. His rookie year. He was drafted in the first round, was a 26th pick. Okay? Think about the three. Okay, there's three linebackers on their team that got drafted in the first round. Montez Sweat got drafted 26th overall. Chase Young, first round, second pick of the draft. And Ryan Kerrigan, who just got traded to the Eagles, signed to the Eagles, was a first-round pick as well. So you had an all-star defensive line linebacking crew when Montez Sweat had 28 tackles versus Chase Young's 32. Montez Sweat had 9 sacks, which was tied 14th, versus Chase Young's 7.5. Ryan Kerrigan had 5.5. But Montez Sweat had 2 forced fumbles. And Chase Young had 4, and Montez Sweat had 1 interception. Chase Young is going to be a Hall of Famer. Stop with the nonsense. If Ryan Kerrigan was not there being the force that he was, there should be a stat on how many I don't even know what you would call it. But on that side that Chase Young was playing, Ryan Kerrigan was making noise. Y'all gonna see what's gonna happen with the Eagles. He's a good player. Super underrated. I mean, it's hard not to do well when all your team collectively had almost 20 sacks by themselves. Yep. They were just a beast, man. And I think Chase Young, with what you said, Gene, is exactly what other people are saying too. They're expecting him to be a Hall of Famer. I just don't see it. Yeah. I don't see it quite yet. He's got a lot. That's why I think he's got a lot of pressure on him. So I'm done with mine.
All right. All right, Don.
All right. Well, no surprise there, Rob. I agree with you on Jalen Hurts. This was a no-brainer for me. didn't exactly have stellar stats when he came in and filled in for Carson, but that was kind of unexpected. He did what he could. 52% completion ratio, did throw for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. Rushed 63 times for 354 yards, a 5.6 average, and had 3 rushing touchdowns. And like everything you said, he is put in a situation where now he has control of the Eagles, and the team is riding on his shoulders. Now they got all new coaches. They got a lot of new players. They got still some turmoil in the front office. They got some players that are there now that won't be when the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting. But I'm glad at this point they're giving him the shot. He deserves the shot. And I think he's going to have a decent year. I don't think it's going to be a disappointment. It'll be an improvement over last year.
Do they make the playoffs?
Do they make the playoffs? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think they're going to be close to I think they'll be close to a 500 record. They'll be close.
So over under for Jalen. Closer than you think, yeah.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts under overs for you. Okay, I'm gonna give you some century marks of what I think a good quarterback has a decent season. Over 22 interceptions, over under.
Try that again.
I'm
still thinking on it.
I'd take the under on 22.
Under? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 17-game season, granted, but I think under 22 is going to be.
I added 2 more touchdowns to it because usually I'm at 20. So
sure. Gotcha. Yep.
8 interceptions, over under.
I think he's going to be over.
Oh.
8 interceptions?
Yeah.
I think he's over that.
Yep.
In 17 games? Yeah.
So under 22 touchdowns, over 8 interceptions. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he was 20 and 10 or 12, I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, keep in mind, we don't know what these guys are going to be doing as far as the coaches and the plays and the way they're running the offense, the way they're running the defense. I mean, they could shock the world here and win 10, 11 games, but I don't see it right now.
Yeah, just looking at the schedule, I don't know.
So, Gene, you have 22 is a lot under that,
yep.
And then over 8 interceptions.
Over 8, yep.
Dude.
Gene says he's over on both 22 TDs and over 8 picks.
Oh, 27-16? Okay.
The first thing you said, Dante, was 22 interceptions, not 22 touchdowns.
Oh, my bad.
Which is what threw me through a loop too, and I think that's what Gene heard.
Oh, no. I meant over 22 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was like, he's going to be under 22 picks. God, I hope so. but
over 8 interceptions.
I think they're closer to that number. I mean, in a 17-game season, I could see him being over 22, closer to Gene's number, 25 or 27. Yeah.
Yeah. So my bold prediction of the year, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it out the way since we're on Jalen Hurts. Not to take up your time, Don, but since we are discussing Jalen Hurts, and I'll just go ahead and say it. My bold prediction for Jalen Hurts, they will win the division. I'm just going with my gut here. They're gonna win the division, and this dude's gonna have 25 touchdowns and under 10 picks. Maybe around 8 or 9 picks this year.
Under 10 picks is aggressive.
I would love it. I would
love that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I for some reason, the Madden gods are talking to me.
You also know that
it's
not going to be Washington. What's it been, 17 years since we've had a repeat division winner, right? So it's not going to be Washington, so you can cancel them out. It's got to be somebody else.
And let me make it clear. I'm just talking about passing touchdowns, not anything that he's going to rush with. That's just going to be anything extra because we know he's at least going to get 5 of those this year.
Well, if he got 3, in a partial season.
Yeah, 3 in what, 4 games, right?
4 games.
Yeah.
Now the one thing to keep in mind here, I think with Jalen Hurts, I think he's a bit more level-headed, a game at a time, mind frame, a situation at a time. Mind frame. I don't think he's going to keep it in the back of his head all year that, hey, this team's got potentially 3 number 1 draft picks next year. So if I don't perform, I'm out of here. I don't think we have to worry about that with him this year.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's very fair.
Gene says they're going to run the division.
Washington is going to run the division. Don't care about those stats yet.
I think they're the most interesting based off of what happened last year.
But I'm also skeptical of Fitzmagic being named the starter at the start of the season. He's never been good in that situation. He needs to be the savior. I don't know. His whole career, he's been great when he hasn't been the guy.
You're asking a lot out of a 17-game season out of Fitzmagic, for sure.
Exactly. He's Fitzmagic because he does it for a 5-6 game spurt. He'll give you, when your guy goes down with a sprained ankle, and you need 3 or 4 games out of him, he's great. I don't know. You're going to get 17 games out of him. All right. Going back to Don.
Right.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Tangents in the comments.
Yeah. I got Jeff Okuda, cornerback for the Lions.
You and Gene are there.
Yeah, 47 tackles, 41 solo, 1 pick. Now, pay attention to this stat. 2 passes defended, and I'll get back to that in a minute. The key word for Jeff Okuda is dysfunction. 3 years at Ohio State, he only missed 4 games. He had 3 Big Ten titles, 1 national championship, and senior year was an All-American. 3rd pick in the draft by the Lions. They lost 11 games, fired the coach and their GM. Worst defensive season in the team's history.
The Lions.
That's worse than the 0-17 or 0-16 season?
Yes. No offseason, no reps because of COVID. He struggled with the basics that are usually picked up, in camp and OTAs and everything. Week 1, he's got a hamstring injury, so he doesn't play. Week 2, there's an injury to Desmond Trufant and Justin Coleman. So Okuda gets to start. Who's he matched up one-on-one against? Devontae Adams. Versus the Packers, Rodgers completed 7 out of 10 for 120 yards to Adams. Okuda allowed 38 catches on 50 targets. 38 catches on 50 targets. 2 passes defended, 1 pick. Turns out he was dealing with a core muscle injury all season that he had from Ohio State, did not get surgery in the offseason. So injuries and the pandemic hurt his performance. But a season of dysfunction needs to turn around. So he has a lot to prove this year.
I agree. Gene says Matt Patricia was a bum.
Yeah. So I can agree with that.
Can't disagree there.
Yeah, Matt Patricia needs a daddy.
Another Belichick guy that just did not work out. Exactly.
All right.
Gene also says that Fitzmagic was a very good starter for Miami last season.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, he was good. I mean, he didn't have the opportunity to play a full season because of Tua, but we'll see what he can do. It's a very interesting situation in Washington.
To get away.